Welcome to the Sewer Wealth Podcast, where we bring you the timeless wisdom of the world's greatest business and wealth-building books. In each episode, we break down proven strategies from legendary minds, so you can apply them to your own journey toward financial freedom and success. So, get ready to unlock the secrets of success, one book at a time.
Okay, so we're back, and we're diving back into Atomic Habits.
Right.
Picking up where we left off, which, if you recall, was all about making those good habits easy.
Right, making it easy.
Chapters 11 through 14.
Yep.
And really focusing on how we can tweak our environment, our routines, to just kind of lower that barrier to entry.
For sure.
For all those essential wealth-building behaviors.
Absolutely.
Like habit stacking or setting up your space. Just little nudges that make success feel almost automatic.
Totally. We talked about breaking those big financial goals down into those bite-sized actions.
Right.
Things you can actually manage,
Right.
like automating your savings.
Yes.
So you're not even thinking about it, it's just happening.
Right.
Or arranging your finances so you're less likely to spend impulsively.
Totally.
You're not even tempted.
Yeah, just kind of taking the temptation out of the equation.
Exactly.
Which is brilliant.
Yep.
And so now we're tackling that fourth and final piece of the habit puzzle.
The grand finale.
Yes, at the grand finale.
Satisfying.
Make it
That's the key to making those habits stick.
And this is where I think things get really interesting, especially as we're looking at it through our Sure Wealth lens.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, because we're all about uncovering how to make those wealth-building habits feel good.
Yes.
So good that you just keep coming back for more.
You got it.
And that's the secret sauce, isn't it?
It is the long game.
It is the long game.
That's how you build real, lasting financial success.
It is.
It's about making it feel good so you want to keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Not just this time, but every time. And that's what this fourth law is all about.
Yeah.
You see, the first three laws, obvious, attractive and easy.
Yeah.
They get you to do it once.
This time.
Right now.
Yeah.
But this fourth law, this is the one that makes it a habit.
Right.
It's what makes you want to do it again and again.
It kind of hardwires it in.
Exactly.
So you're not even thinking about it anymore.
It becomes automatic.
It becomes automatic.
Second nature.
Yeah.
That's the key.
So let's jump into chapter 15.
All right, let's do it.
The cardinal rule of behavior change. And Clear starts off with this really fascinating story
Oh,
out of Karachi, Pakistan.
public health initiative.
Yeah, this one really grabbed my attention.
Mine too. It really challenges some assumptions.
It does. It really does.
Okay.
Because, we often think if we just know something is good for us, we'll do it.
Right.
But this story proves that's not always the case.
Not even close.
So in Karachi, you've got these unsanitary conditions.
Right.
Disease is rampant. And people, they know hand washing is important.
Oh, yeah. It's common knowledge.
But are they doing it consistently?
Not really.
No.
That's the problem.
Right. So Stephen Luby,
The researcher
he leads this team.
partners with Procter & Gamble. They introduce Safeguard soap.
Safeguard soap.
Now, this isn't just any soap.
Right.
It's a step up for this community.
Yeah.
Higher quality.
So what was it about this particular soap?
This is the fascinating part.
Yeah.
It's the experience.
The experience.
People loved using it.
Really?
Luby specifically mentioned how much they enjoyed it. Lathered well, smelled good.
So they made hand washing pleasurable.
Exactly. They turned a chore into something enjoyable.
And that made all the difference.
All the difference.
It's amazing how these little things can have such a huge impact.
It is. It all comes down to our brains.
Really?
When something feels good, our brain wants more of it.
So it's like a reward system.
So it's exactly our reward system.
So even small positive sensory inputs
Like the feel of the lather.
or the smell
Yes.
trigger the release of dopamine,
In the nucleus accumbens.
the brain's reward center.
Exactly.
And that creates a craving to repeat the experience.
That's the key. Repeat the experience.
So it's like you're hacking the brain's reward system
In a way, yes.
to create good habits.
That's the goal.
That's incredible.
And it worked. The results were amazing.
They're astounding.
52% drop in diarrhea.
Wow.
48% in pneumonia.
Then a 35% reduction in impetigo.
That's a bacterial skin infection.
Right. And here's the kicker. Even after they stopped giving out the free soap,
Yeah.
95% of households.
Kept their hand washing stations.
That's Insane.
It's proof that this wasn't just compliance.
Right.
It was a habit they had formed.
They had internalized it.
They enjoyed it. It was satisfying.
Yeah, so it's like Clear says when something feels good,
Our brain says, let's do that again.
that's what we're aiming for.
Absolutely.
And he gives other examples too, right?
Oh, yeah, like Wrigley's chewing gum.
Wrigley's.
Think about it. It's not just the chewing. It's the flavors.
Right.
The feeling of a fresh mouth.
That minty sensation.
Exactly. Those little things make it satisfying.
So we keep coming back for more.
We do. It's brilliant marketing, really.
It is.
And then there's flavored toothpaste.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about cleaning our teeth. Right.
It's about that feeling of a clean mouth.
Like that fresh minty feeling.
Yes.
Like I actually switched toothpaste brands recently.
Really?
Yeah, because I found one that had a more satisfying flavor.
Interesting.
Right. It's powerful stuff.
It is.
And then Clear shares that anecdote
Oh, yeah.
about the woman who pretended to be boring.
To avoid a narcissistic relative.
That's the flip side.
It is, right?
Unsatisfying experiences.
Yeah.
We avoid them.
Like the plague.
Exactly.
It's so fascinating how our brains work.
It is.
And this all leads to what Clear calls the cardinal rule of behavior change,
Oh, yes.
which is what
What is rewarded is repeated. What is punished is avoided.
it's so simple, but so powerful.
It's about understanding the power of emotions.
Yeah.
Positive emotions, they fuel our habits.
They're like fertilizer,
Exactly.
Negative emotions.
They kill them off.
like weed killer.
Precisely.
And this ties back to the first three laws.
It does.
Making a habit obvious, attractive,
Yeah.
easy.
That gets you started.
You're more likely to do it once.
Right. But making it satisfying,
That's what keeps you going back.
it closes the loop.
It's the key to building those long-term habits.
Absolutely.
Now, Clear makes a really important distinction.
Oh, yes.
It's not just about any kind of satisfaction.
Right.
It needs to be immediate,
Immediate satisfaction. That's the key.
especially when we're talking about building wealth. Because let's face it, the big payoffs,
They often take time,
they do.
sometimes a long time.
Years, even decades.
Exactly. And our brains, they're not always wired for that.
Right.
We're wired for instant gratification.
We want it now.
It's how we
So
evolve.
our brains are kind of stuck in the past.
In a way, yes.
Like they haven't caught up to modern life.
It's like we evolved in what Clear calls an immediate return environment.
An immediate return environment.
Back then, actions had quick and clear consequences.
Find food.
Escape danger.
Right.
But today,
We live in a delayed return environment.
the rewards for saving, investing, building a business,
They take time.
they do.
And our brains still crave that instant feedback.
It's what behavioral economists call time inconsistency.
Time inconsistency.
We value present rewards more than future rewards,
Even if the future reward is bigger.
even if it is.
So that's why we might buy something we don't really need instead of saving for the future.
Instant gratification versus long-term security.
It's a tough battle.
It's our biology working against us.
So bad habits.
They often give us that quick hit of pleasure,
Right.
but the long-term consequences,
That'd be devastating.
like overspending and racking up debt.
Yeah. The enjoyment is fleeting.
But the burden lasts.
Right. And then good habits.
They often require effort up front,
Right.
but the payoff comes later.
Like saving diligently
Yes.
or investing wisely.
Not always fun in the moment.
But the long-term benefits are huge.
Clear quotes Frederick Bastiat.
It almost always happens that when the immediate consequence is favorable, the later consequences are disastrous, and vice versa.
Powerful words.
They are.
It highlights the challenge we face.
With delayed gratification,
It's hard to resist those immediate rewards.
even when we know it's not in our best interest.
Our brains are wired that way.
So the costs of good habits,
You're in the present.
the costs of bad habits,
You're the future.
in our brains.
They prioritize the present.
Right. So we can't just rely on good intentions.
No intentions are great, but they're not always enough.
Because when it comes down to it,
It's a battle between present you and future you.
and present you.
Usually wins.
So Clear updates the cardinal rule to
What is immediately rewarded,
is repeated,
what is immediately punished,
is avoided.
that's the reality.
It really emphasizes that instant feedback loop.
It does.
But you know what?
What's that?
This actually gives us an advantage
Oh.
if we can master delayed gratification.
Oh, so.
Because most people,
They're chasing those quick hits.
right.
They're stuck in that instant gratification loop.
So the road to delayed gratification,
It's less crowded,
it is. And that means,
less competition.
and often bigger payoffs.
Exactly. Exactly.
There's a whole lot of opportunity waiting for those who can resist the temptation of the now.
It's true.
And there's research to back this up.
Oh, yeah. Studies show that people who are better at delaying gratification
They tend to have better outcomes in life.
across the board,
Higher SAT scores,
lower rates of substance abuse.
more financial success.
It's a powerful skill,
It is.
and it's a skill that can be learned.
So how do we train ourselves to delay gratification?
The key is to make those good habits feel good
Immediately.
immediately.
Even if the big reward is way down the line.
Exactly.
So we need to find ways to inject a little bit of pleasure.
Into those long-term goals.
Right.
We need to create those small wins
Those feelings of success.
right away.
And conversely,
We need to make those bad habits a little less pleasurable.
more immediately painful.
Exact.
Because in the beginning, those good habits,
They often feel like sacrifice.
all sacrifice.
You're not seeing the big returns yet.
So those immediate rewards,
They give you the motivation to keep going.
they're like fuel.
They keep you moving forward while those bigger rewards are building up in the background.
I like that.
It's a long game,
It is.
but those little wins along the way,
They make all the difference.
they do.
And Clear also talks about the importance of the ending.
The ending.
Yeah, he says the ending of a behavior is crucial
For how satisfying it feels.
and how memorable it is.
Interesting.
It is, right?
It's a good ending.
Can make us want to repeat the behavior.
It's like a good book.
Or a good movie.
You want to experience that feeling again.
Exactly.
So how do we create good endings for our habits?
Well, Clear introduces this concept of reinforcement,
Reinforcement.
using an immediate reward to increase the rate of a behavior.
So you're rewarding yourself for doing the right thing.
Exactly. And this can be especially helpful,
For habits of avoidance.
like resisting that urge to buy something you don't need.
Mm-hmm.
Cleary suggests making the benefits of these actions more visible,
More tangible.
like creating a dedicated savings account,
For a specific goal.
right? Like let's say you're saving for a leather jacket
Right.
or a trip to Europe.
Nice.
You create an account labeled for that specific thing.
I like it.
And every time you resist an impulse buy
You transfer the money you would have spent.
into that account,
So you're immediately seeing the progress.
you're watching your savings grow.
It's like a visual representation of your success.
And that feels good,
It does. It gives you that instant gratification.
while also working towards your long-term goal.
It's a win-win.
What if you're trying to break a bad habit?
Like overspending,
Yeah.
you could create an immediate punishment.
Oh, interesting.
Like every time you make an unplanned purchase, you have to move a certain amount of money
From your fun account.
to a less accessible savings account.
So you're making it a little bit painful
Just a little.
to indulge in that bad habit.
It's about creating that negative feedback loop
Right.
to discourage the behavior.
I like it.
It's all about finding what works for you.
And Clear emphasizes that.
Eventually, those intrinsic rewards,
They start to take over
the feeling of accomplishment,
the pride in your progress.
it becomes the reward itself.
It's like you're building a new identity.
You're becoming the kind of person who saves,
Who invests.
who builds wealth,
And that identity.
becomes the ultimate reinforcer.
So incentives might start the habit.
But identity sustains it.
I love that.
It's powerful stuff.
It is. But in the beginning,
While you're still building that identity
you need that immediate reinforcement
to keep you going
to bridge that gap.
between the effort and the reward.
Exactly.
And now let's move into chapter 16.
How to stick with good habits every day.
This is where Clee introduces us to the story of Trent Dursmid.
The stockbroker, the paperclip strategy.
Oh yeah, this is a classic.
It's such a simple yet effective strategy.
It's all about making progress visible
And that makes it satisfying.
because you can see yourself moving towards your goal.
Exactly. So Dursmid,
He starts each day with 2 jars,
one full of paper clips
120 to be exact,
and the other one empty.
and his goal.
After every successful sales call,
He moves 1 paper clip.
from the full jar to the empty jar
So he's physically seeing his progress.
throughout the day.
It's brilliant.
It is, and it worked wonders for him,
Oh yeah, he was incredibly successful
bringing in millions.
at a young age.
It's a testament to the power of this simple technique.
It is.
And we can apply this to wealth building too.
Absolutely.
Like, what if you track the number of investment articles you read?
Or the amount you automatically save each week.
Right.
Any metric that shows you're making progress.
It's about creating that visual feedback loop.
That sense of accomplishment.
Clears calls this a habit track.
A habit tracker.
And it could be anything, really,
From marking days off on a calendar,
to using a dedicated app.
the key is to find what works for you.
And he gives some great examples,
Like Benjamin Franklin,
tracking his 13 virtues.
meticulously.
And Jerry Seinfeld,
Don't break the chain.
writing jokes every day.
It's a powerful technique.
It is, and it actually taps into multiple laws of behavior change.
It does.
First, it makes the habit obvious
You're constantly reminded of it.
by that visual cue.
You track her.
Second, it makes it attractive.
Because seeing that progress is motivating.
It really is, and you want to keep that streak going.
You don't want to break the chain.
Right. And third,
It makes it satisfying.
that's what we're all about today.
It feels good to record your success.
And watch those results accumulate
It's like a little reward.
for doing the right thing.
It's also a good way to focus on the process.
Not just the outcome.
Exactly.
It's about enjoying the journey.
Not just the destination.
It's interesting that Clear doesn't talk about habit tracking until later in the book.
I know, right?
He says it's because a lot of people resist it.
They see it as a chore.
One more thing to do.
Another habit to track.
Right. And it can feel overwhelming.
It can.
So he gives some tips for making it easier.
Like what?
Well, first, automate whenever possible.
Like using your credit card statements?
Or a fitness tracker.
Or your calendar.
Anything that can track your progress automatically.
So you don't have to do it manually.
Exactly.
That's a good tip.
And second, limit manual tracking to your most important habits.
So you're not spreading yourself too thin.
Right.
Focus on the essentials.
And third, record immediately after the habit.
So you don't forget.
And you're more likely to be consistent.
That's habit stacking plus habit tracking.
Exactly.
Like the paper clips.
Right after each sales call.
Or recording your workout sets.
At the gym.
Or logging your food.
After putting your plate in the dishwasher.
It's about making it as seamless as possible.
So it becomes automatic.
Exactly.
Even just a few weeks of tracking
Can give you so much insight.
into your behavior.
And whether you're actually sticking to your habits.
It's a great way to check in with yourself.
And see how you're doing.
But Clear reminds us,
Every habit streak.
eventually comes to an end.
It's inevitable.
Life happens.
Things get in the way.
So the key is to recover quickly.
To get back on track.
And he introduces this rule.
The never miss twice rule.
Never miss twice.
It's about preventing those slip-ups.
From turning into bad habits.
The first miss,
It's an accident.
but the second miss,
That's the start of a new pattern.
a bad pattern.
And Clear says this is a hallmark of successful people.
They rebound quickly.
From failure,
They don't let setbacks derail them.
they just get back on track.
And keep moving forward.
So even on those bad days,
Show up.
even if you only do the bare minimum,
Nothing better than nothing.
it keeps the momentum going.
And it reinforces your identity.
He is someone who sticks to their habit.
Exactly.
Tyler Munger calls this never interrupted unnecessarily.
Wise words.
AR?
It's about maintaining those compounding gains,
Over time.
even when you don't feel like it.
It's about playing the long game
Absolutely.
and avoiding that all or nothing cycle.
That can be so destructive.
It is. It's easy to fall into that trap.
Of thinking if you can't do it perfectly,
You might as well not do it at all.
but that's not true.
Any progress is better than no progress.
Exactly.
But Clear also cautions us,
About the dangers of measuring the wrong thing.
like focusing on the wrong metrics.
Exactly. He uses the example of a restaurant
That only focuses on revenue,
and ignores customer satisfaction.
and that can lead to problems.
It can, because happy customer
They're more likely to come back.
and spend more money
So focusing solely on revenue,
can actually hurt the business in the long run.
it's short-sighted.
It is.
And this leads to Goodhart's law.
Which states,
When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure.
two, we need to be careful.
About what we choose to measure.
And how we use those measurements
They should guide us.
and provide context.
They shouldn't become the be-all and end-all.
Because sometimes the most important things,
They're not quantifiable.
like happiness
Or fulfillment.
or well-being,
We can't always put a number on those things.
but that doesn't mean they're not important.
So habit tracking,
It's a valuable tool.
but it needs to be used thoughtfully.
It's about finding the right balance
Between measurement and intuition,
and remembering that numbers.
they're just one piece of the puzzle.
Exactly.
And finally, we move into chapter 17.
How an accountability partner can change everything.
Now, this chapter gets really interesting
It does.
because it explores the power of external pressure
To break bad habits.
and make those undesirable behaviors unsatisfying
It's about adding a little bit of pain
to the equation.
to make those bad habits less appealing.
Clear starts off with this rather extreme thought experiment
Oh, yeah.
from Roger Fisher.
The nuclear war scenario.
It's a bit out there,
It is.
but it really illustrates the point.
Of making the consequences.
Immediate and unsatisfying.
So Fisher proposes
That the nuclear launch codes,
be implanted next to a volunteer's heart.
and in order to launch a nuclear weapon,
The president would have to personally kill that volunteer.
It's a pretty gruesome image,
It is.
but it makes the consequences of launching a nuclear attack
Very real.
and very personal,
It takes away the abstraction
and forces the
and
president
confront the human cost.
of their action.
It's a powerful deterrent.
It is, and it highlights the fact.
That just as satisfying endings encourage us to repeat behaviors,
Painful ending.
encourage us to avoid them,
Pain can be a powerful teacher,
especially when it's immediate.
and costly.
And Clear points out,
That bad habits often persist.
because they serve us in some way.
They give us some kind of immediate gratification.
So to break those bad habits
We need to make them less gratifying
and more painful,
immediately. Like, think about late fees for bills.
or grades being linked to attendance,
Those are examples of immediate consequences
that change behavior.
because they make those undesirable actions.
Then satisfying
And Clear emphasizes
that the strength of the punishment,
needs to match the strength of the behavior.
small punishment,
Don't be enough.
to deter a strong habit.
And he also says,
That local, tangible, concrete, and immediate consequences
are more effective.
than global, intangible, vague, and delayed ones.
It's about making the pain.
Real and present.
And this leads to the concept of a habit contract.
Habit contract
It's a way to add an immediate cost,
to those bad habits.
like a formal agreement
With yourself,
or with an accountability partner,
stating your commitment
and the consequence of,
for failing to uphold that commitment.
like seatbelt laws.
That's a form of social contract.
That changed behavior
By enforcing punishment,
for non-compliance
it made it immediately unsatisfying.
to not wear a seatbelt.
Exactly.
And Claire shares a great example
Oh, yeah.
of a habit contract.
Brian Harris.
He wanted to lose weight,
So he created this detailed contract,
outlining his goals,
his daily habit,
his punishments,
for not sticking to the plan,
and he signed it,
along with his trainer and his wife.
making it official
And it worked.
because it made those undesirable behaviors.
Immediately painful.
He had skin in the game.
He was accountable.
And even if you don't create a full-blown contract,
Just having an accountability partner,
can be incredibly helpful.
it's about knowing that someone is watching.
And that can be a powerful motivator.
It creates an immediate cost to letting them down.
Like Margaret Cho,
She had a
I have her
friend
accountable,
for writing a song every day.
and Thomas Frank,
He used an automated tweet
to announce his daily writing goals.
to the world
It's about leveraging that social pressure.
to keep us on track.
And Clear says it all comes down to
Our desire to present our best selves.
the world.
We care what others think.
And that can be a powerful force for good.
It can.
And within this chapter, Clear gives a nice summary of everything we've discussed.
He does.
The 4 laws of behavior change.
For building good habits.
Make it obvious.
Make it attractive.
Make it easy.
Make it satisfying.
And then he flips them.
To create the 4 laws for breaking bad habits.
Make it
Invisible.
unattractive.
Make it difficult.
Make it unsatisfying.
It's a great way to tie everything together
It is.
and to see how these principles can be applied.
To both sides of the equation.
Building good habits.
And breaking bad habits.
It's all about understanding how our brains work
And using that knowledge
to our advantage.
to create the life we want.
So that's it for our deep dive into atomic habits
For now.
for now.
But we'll be back
Next time,
to explore some of the advanced tactics.
that Clear outlines.
Even more strategies for habit change.
But if you're eager to learn more,
And you want to dive deeper into these principles?
we highly recommend picking up a copy of Atomic Habits.
By James Clear. It's a fantastic resource
Filled with practical tools and insights,
to help you build better habits.
and break bad ones,
And we've got a link in the description below.
where you can purchase the book.
And by using our link,
You'll be supporting our show.
which allows us to keep bringing you these in-depth explorations
Into the world of personal finance.
and habit formation,
So grab a copy.
and start building those satisfying habits.
That will lead you to a wealthier life. Host speaker.